I was tagged in a video of Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Arkansas, talking about what's going on in Los Angeles. We're going to watch it and we're going to pause and react to her bullshit as we see it.
How's it going? Good, how are you? Good.
You've been here a time or two before.
A couple?
I know you were talking about the LA riots. What's your response as a fellow governor to what's happening?
Well, I think it's absurd that they've allowed what is going on in California to take place. The fact that they're choosing rioters and criminals over American law enforcement is absolutely absurd. They've picked crazy over normal. I'm a big fan of order over chaos, and I think the president is absolutely 100% right to step in. Frankly, he shouldn't have to, but because of their failures, he needs to. And I think it's abysmal what this governor and this mayor have allowed to happen, but I'm thankful we have a president who will actually step up and get things done and make sure people are safe in their states and their communities.
Pause. You said that they chose rioters and lawlessness. I think it was something of that nature over the police, and they chose crazy over normal. You support a movement that attacked our capital. You support a president who pardoned the January 6th insurrectionists. And you're going to talk about supporting the rioters over the law enforcement, picking the crazy over the normal, and then say how you're a big fan of order? You're defending a guy who pardoned those people. Go on.
It's a great question. You'd have to ask a Democrat. I certainly couldn't get in their mind and figure out why they're making a lot of the decisions that they are. You would think after the last several months, they would see that that's not only bad policy, but it's bad politics. It's not working. What President Trump is doing is working and has the vast majority of support from Americans. And frankly, they should be more supportive of the efforts that he has going on.
If what Donald Trump was doing had the support of a vast majority of Americans, you wouldn't be seeing things like what we're seeing happening in LA and Minnesota and Chicago and Detroit and New York. If the people were behind him, we wouldn't have streets filled with protesters against what he's doing. If people were behind him, his poll numbers would be better. If people were behind him, you would not see the kind of protests that you're getting ready to see this Saturday on No King's Day. By definition, that alone shows you that the people are not behind him. Go on.
There's critics who say, oh, it's peaceful protesters, or at least there should be some element of free speech involved in this. What's your response?
Nobody's against free speech, but we are against people throwing rocks through windows, attacking police officers, impeding the flow of traffic, stopping public transit from being able to move forward. That's not a peaceful protest. Anybody that's paying attention and says that is frankly just being dishonest. And so I think they'd be hard pressed to actually see what's taking place on the ground and make that argument.
Hold on. So you start by saying that nobody's against free speech while supporting a president who wants to pull the press passes of reporters that write bad stories about him and sue news organizations that write unflattering stories about him. Not exactly a ringing endorsement of free speech. But then you go on to talk about how if a protest impedes traffic, then that's not a peaceful protest. Well, while you were working for the last guy, for Trump in the last administration, Trump called for protesters to liberate their towns during the 2020 quarantines. Remember that? Liberate Michigan. Thousands converge on Lansing to protest Whitmer's stay-at-home order. Demonstrators drove thousands of vehicles, many draped with protest signs, to Michigan State Capitol on Wednesday, loudly protesting Governor Whitmer's stay-at-home order intended to fight the coronavirus pandemic. Police watched as horns honked and commercial and private vehicles from around the state jammed Capitol Avenue and other streets surrounding Michigan's seat of government. Liberty once lost is lost forever, read a sign draped across the commercial van. Security without liberty is called prison, read another, stretched across the Capitol's front lawn. Recall Whitmer, a third sign said. Organizers said they expected thousands of vehicles, and those projections appeared accurate. Lieutenant Darren Green of the Michigan State Police estimated several thousand cars were part of the demonstration, with 100 to 150 people on the Capitol lawn. Green said traffic was backed up for more than a mile around the Capitol in several directions. They're going to be respectful and not causing any issues at all, Green said. Still, many on the sidewalks were passing close to each other, and most were not wearing masks. Most of the police officers around the demonstration were also not wearing masks. The Michigan State Police and the Lansing Police Department had reported only one arrest by 3 p.m. A demonstrator was arrested on suspicion of assaulting another protester near the corner of Capitol and Michigan, Green said. There were no injuries. Many of the demonstrators wore hats and waved signs showing support for Republican President Donald Trump, though demonstrators appeared to want to keep one lane of Capitol Avenue open for a brief time. All lanes of both that major street and Allegiant Avenue were mostly at a standstill. According to photographs posted on social media and other reports, at least one ambulance was brought to a stop in traffic on Grand Avenue, close to a nearby Lansing hospital. The traffic jam extended east on Michigan Avenue from the Capitol to beyond Pennsylvania Avenue, with idling cars lined up in front of a Sparrow Health System hospital. So according to what you just told the reporters, that was not a peaceful protest, right? I mean, that's your criteria. If you're blocking traffic and you're not allowing the free flow of traffic, then that is not a peaceful protest. That's what your boss did while you were working for him.
Today, and as a governor, would you welcome the President of the United States sending our troops to your state over your objections?
If we needed help, I would be making the phone call myself to the president and asking for his assistance. But in Arkansas, we would never allow to take place what they're letting go on in California. But if we needed help, the president would be one of the first people I would call, because he is somebody I know who cares deeply about making sure the American people are safe and secure, first and foremost. And so I have no doubt he would do it.
Would that be the same governor that just denied Arkansas assistance after a series of tornadoes ravaged your state, and you publicly were begging him for money? By the way, you wanna step up to the mic and talk about criminality in California and how this would never be allowed to happen in Arkansas? Okay. California has a violent crime rate of 511 per 100,000 residents. Arkansas's violent crime rate, 645 per 100,000. The last years that were tabulated for the states. Arkansas has a higher violent crime rate than California. California's homicide rate, 4.8 homicides per 100,000. Arkansas's homicide rate, 10.2 per 100,000. How about you shut the fuck up about criminality and crime in California until you get your own house in order?